Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Ashtotra Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtotra Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Can you please place this back, please? All right, thank you. So this morning we were reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, entitled, I think it's Creative Impetus. The Creative Impetus. Chapter 2, the activities of Maharaj Agnidhra, and we're on text 11. Kim Sambritam Ruchiyayor Dvija Brahmana Shringo Te Madhye Krishaha Vahasi Yatra Drishahi Shrita Me Pankaha Aruna Surabhihi Atmavishane Idrik Yena Ashramam Subhaga Me Surabhi Kuroshi. Yes. Yes. Let's see. Long I. Okay. Surabhi. Surabhi. So this is right?
Third line.
Oh, third line. Let's see here. Oh, okay. No, yeah, it's short. All right, good. Kim sambritam ruchirayor dvija shringayoste madhye krishovahasi yatra drishi shritame panko runa surabhi atma vishana idrig yenashramam subhagame surabhi karoshi kim sambritam ruchirayo dvija shringayoste madhye krishovahasi yatra dishi shritame panko runa surabhi atma vishana idrig yenashramam subhagame surabhi karoshi kim sambritam ruchirayo dvija shangayoste madhye krishovahasi yatra drishi shritame panko runa surabhi atma vishana idrig yenashramam subhagame surabhi karoshi Okay, word by word. Kim, what? Sampritam, filled. Ruchirayo, very beautiful. Tvija, O Brahman. Shringayo, within two horns. Te, your. Madhye, in the middle. Krisha, thin. Vihasi, Bahasi, you're carrying. Yatra, wherein. Drishihi, eyes. Shrita, attached. Me, my. Pankaha, powder. Arunaha, red. Surabhi, Surabhi, fragrant. Atma Vishane, on the two horns, Yidrik, such, Yena, by which, Ashramam, place of residence, Subhaga, O most fortunate one, Me, my, Surabhi, Kuroshi, you're perfuming. Translation. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. Agnidhra then praised Purvacitti's raised breast. He said, "My dear Brahmin, your waist is very thin. Yet, with great difficulty, you are carefully carrying two horns, to which my eyes have become attracted. What is filling those two beautiful horns? You seem to have spread fragrant red powder upon them, powder that is like the rising morning sun. O most fortunate one, I beg to inquire where you have gotten this fragrant powder that is perfuming my ashram, my place of residence." Purport. Agnidhra appreciated Purvacitti's raised breast. After seeing the girl's breast, he became almost mad. Nevertheless, he could not recognize whether Purvacitti was a boy or a girl, for as a result of his austerity, he saw no distinction between the two. He therefore addressed her with the words, "Dvija, O Brahman." Yet why should a Dvija, a Brahmin boy, have horns on his chest? Because the boy's waist was thin, Agnidhra thought he was carrying the horns with great difficulty, and therefore they must be filled with something very valuable. Otherwise, why would he carry them? When a woman's waist is thin and her breasts are full, she looks very attractive. Agnidhra, his eyes attracted, contemplated the heavy breasts on the girl's thin body and imagined how her back must sustain them. Agnidhra imagined that her raised breasts were two horns she had covered with cloth, so that others would not see the valuables within them. Agnidhra, however, was very anxious to see them. Therefore he requested, "Please uncover them, so that I can see what you are carrying. Rest assured that I shall not take it away. If you feel an inconvenience in removing the covering, I can help you. I myself can uncover them to see what valuable things those raised horns contain." He was also surprised to see the red dust of perfumed kumkum spread over her breasts. Nevertheless, still considering Purvacitti a boy, Agnidhra addressed her as Subhaga, most fortunate Muni. The boy must have been fortunate, otherwise, how simply by standing there could he perfume Agnidhra's entire ashram? So I'll continue. Text 12. "O best friend, will you kindly show me the place where you reside? I cannot imagine how the residents of that place have gotten such wonderful bodily features as your raised breasts, which agitate the mind and eyes of a person like me who sees them. Judging by the sweet speech and kind smiles of those residents, I think that their mouths must contain nectar." Purport. Still bewildered, Agnidhra wanted to see the place from which the Brahmin boy had come, where the men had such raised breasts. Such attractive features, he thought, must be due to the severe austerities performed there. Perform austerities, and that's what happens. Huh? Be careful how many austerities you perform. Agnidhra addressed the girl as a Suhritama, the best friend, so that she would not refuse to take him there. Not only was Agnidhra captivated with the girl's raised breast, he was also attracted by her sweet speech. Nectar seemed to emanate from her mouth, and therefore he was increasingly surprised. All right, text 13. "My dear friend, what do you eat to maintain your body? Because you are chewing betel, a pleasing scent is emanating from your mouth. This proves that you always eat the remnants of food offered to Vishnu. Indeed, you must also be an expansion of Lord Vishnu's body. Your face is as beautiful as a pleasing lake. Your jeweled earrings resemble two brilliant sharks with unblinking eyes like those of Vishnu, and your eyes resemble two restless fish. Simultaneously, therefore, two sharks and two restless fish are swimming in the lake of your face. Besides them, the white rows of your teeth seem like rows of very beautiful swans in the water. And your scattered hair resembles swarms of bumblebees, following the beauty of your face. The devotees of Lord Vishnu are also his expansions. They are called Vibhinangsha. Lord Vishnu has offered all kinds of sacrificial ingredients, and because devotees always eat prasad, the remnants of his food, the scent of sacrificial ingredients emanates not only from Vishnu, but also from the devotees who eat the remnants of his food, or the food of his devotees. Agnidhra considered Purvacitti an expansion of Lord Vishnu because of the pleasing scent of her body. Aside from that, because of her jeweled earrings shaped like sharks, because of her scattered hair, resembling bumblebees made after the scent of her body, and because of the white rows of her teeth, which resembled swans, Agnidhra compared Purvacitti's face to a beautiful lake decorated with lotus flowers, fish, swans, and bumblebees. So we'll just read two more. My mind, this is 14, my mind is always restless, and by playing with a ball, moving it all about with your lotus-like palm, you are also agitating my eyes. Your curling black hair is now scattered, but you are not attentive to arranging it. Are you not going to arrange it? Like a man attached to a woman, the most cunning wind is trying to take off your lower garment. Are you not mindful of it? Purport. The girl Purvacitti was playing with a ball in her hand, and the ball seemed like nothing but another lotus flower captured by her lotus-like palm. Because of her movements, her hair was loose, and the belt holding her cloth was giving way, as if the cunning wind were trying to make her naked. Yet she paid no attention to arranging her hair or fixing her dress. As Agnidhra tried to see the girl's naked body, his eyes were very agitated by her movements. Okay, this is 15. O best among those performing austerities, where did you get this wonderful beauty that dismantles the austerities performed by others? Where have you learned this art? What austerity have you undergone to achieve this beauty, my dear friend? I desire that you join me to perform austerity and penance, for it may be that the creator of the universe, Lord Brahma, being pleased with me, has sent you to become my wife. Purport. Agnidhra appreciated the wonderful beauty of Purvacitti. Indeed, he was surprised to see such exceptional beauty, which must have been the result of past austerities and penances. He therefore asked the girl whether she had achieved such beauty just to break the penances and austerities of others. He thought that Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, might have been pleased with him and might therefore have sent her to become his wife. He requested Purvacitti to become his wife so that together they could perform austerities and penances in family life. In other words, a suitable wife helps her husband perform penances and austerities in household life, if both of them are on the same elevated platform of spiritual understanding. Without spiritual understanding, husband and wife cannot be equally situated. Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, is interested in good progeny. Therefore, unless he is pleased, one cannot get a suitable wife. In fact, Lord Brahma is worshipped in marriage ceremonies. In India, even today, wedding invitations are still issued with a picture of Lord Brahma on the face of the card. Om Jnanatimirandasya Granjana Shalakaya Chakshurvamaditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karitivachalam Pangam Langate Girim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dintaranam Vancha Kabdribishta Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasudi Gaura Bhaktivinda Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, we're continuing to hear about Agnidra's infatuation and bewilderment in seeing his future wife, Purvacitti. I guess you could say it was love at first sight, or something like that. Yes. But of course, he's a great personality, making his way in the Bhagavatam, in that he also is from him, Purvacitti and Agnidhra, they eventually marry, as you may seem to guess or know. They marry, and then they have King Nabi, right? Yeah, he's one of the sons. And then Nabi, he marries, I'm forgetting her name, but one other woman in the pages of the Bhagavatam, and they have Lord Rishabhadev. So Lord Rishabhadev is right incarnation of Krishna. So yeah, we're continuing to hear, and in the pages of the Bhagavatam we hear many different accounts like this, where a man is bewildered, infatuated with a woman, and throughout the Vedic literatures in general, there's many accounts like this. So here, what are we supposed to learn from this? Well, Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam it says in the 7th canto, it says that women are like fire, and men are like butter. So what happens when you put butter and fire together? It melts automatically. There's no way around it, actually. Just try putting butter by fire. Is there ever a time where it doesn't melt? It always melts. So in other words, men and women by nature, they get close to each other, and melts means they become attracted to each other. They become like here, Purvacitti and Agnidhra. He became very attracted to her, and she became attracted to him. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada said that the brahmacharis and the sannyasis, they should have something stamped on their forehead. And what is that? It should say, like he stamp says, keep in a cool place. So the brahmacharis, keep in a cool place. In other words, keep away from fire, right? So now, of course, by nature, you could say, and mostly you could say by nature, some men, I could say most, will not avoid, you could say, marriage or being with a woman. Most won't avoid that. Of course, it is. Some do, but most don't. So here, Srila Prabhupada's mentioned in the purport how Purvacitti, or how Agnidhra, he is appreciating the beauty of Purvacitti, which, from all the descriptions, it's we just read and devotees have spoke the last few classes that she's extremely beautiful, coming from the higher planets. And interesting, because Agnidhra, he's saying so many different things to her. It's like, oh, you're a Brahmin. And anyways, we just read so many things, right? And he doesn't know if she's a boy or a girl, but he's attracted, so all these interesting things are going on here. And then in the purport, the last purport already, Srila Prabhupada said, he therefore asked the girl whether she had achieved such beauty just to break the penance and austerities of others. He thought that Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, might have been pleased with him and might therefore have sent her to become his wife. He requested Purvacitti to become his wife so that they together could perform austerities and penances in family life. So there's a few cases where Srila Prabhupada's disciples in different countries, like for example, that devotee, one of the first devotee, actually the first devotee in Russia. What was his name? Anyone remember? Yeah, Ananta Shanti Prabhu. So Prabhupada met him, and in a day Prabhupada taught him so much, maybe a day or two, Prabhupada taught him so much, and Prabhupada initiated him. But then Ananta Shanti was saying, oh, Srila Prabhupada, in order for me to, whatever he was saying, to spread Krishna consciousness, to be peaceful, something, he was saying, I like a wife. He told Prabhupada that. And then Srila Prabhupada and Shamasundar, when they're on the plane going to London, Srila Prabhupada was mentioned to Shamasundar about Ananta Shanti Prabhu's desire. And then Prabhupada said, "Oh, I have someone in mind." And then what was her name? Mondakini, is it? Mandakini, yes. Mandakini. And actually, I think Prabhupada asked Shamasundar, "Oh, who do you have?" And then Shamasundar, Mandakini. And then Prabhupada said, "Oh, I was thinking the same thing. Or I was thinking of the same person." So Prabhupada went and asked her, "Are you ready to go to Russia?" And she agreed. She learned Russian, and she went and she married him. She could tell the whole history of what happened, but that was one case. And then another case, I think Prabhupada was in Africa, and there was some brahmachari there actually, and he was saying how he would like a wife, like American wife, and Prabhupada said, "Oh yeah, I could arrange that, no problem." So we'll let Mukunda Charna tell you about his recent, not that Mukunda Charna is going towards marriage, but he told his brother something. But anyways, we'll discuss that later. You could ask him later if you want. So here, Srila Prabhupada saying that Agnidhra, he was thinking that, okay, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, might have been pleased with him and might therefore have sent her to become his wife. So we see that sometimes, spiritual personalities do that. Lord Brahma, he did send Purvacitti, and Srila Prabhupada did arrange, at times certain things. Of course, the guru and these different spiritual authorities, not that they're matchmakers, but sometimes we see that they arrange things. So he said he requested Purvacitti become his wife so that together they could perform austerities and penances in family life. So this is a great point, that within family life, it's not that okay, well now it's just time for me to forget Krishna and enjoy my senses, and maybe on Sundays or maybe when I have time I'll think of Krishna. But part of family life is to perform austerities and penances. Why? So that in the future, when the children are grown up and married and all that, then the husband and wife will be able to continue with our austerities and penances. Not that they spent so much time not practicing Krishna consciousness, so when they get old, they don't really have a taste for Krishna consciousness. And then they don't know what to do with themselves. Because if we don't have a taste or attraction for Krishna consciousness, when retirement comes, we want to continue engaging in non-direct Krishna conscious activities. So we have to have a taste. So penance and austerities. And interesting that His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami, he's writing a lot of books about this and that, so many different things, right? Topics of Krishna consciousness. And one of the books he's writing now is Family Life and Krishna Consciousness. Interesting. So, and so now of course, for those of, then you could ask, well, why is he writing such a thing? Right? Why is a sannyasi writing such a thing? Why is Bhakti Vikas Swami writing such a thing? Well, because if you look around, I mean, most are not sannyasis and most are not brahmacharis. Most are householders, devotees. Some vanaprasthas are there too. So there is a need for that. And even if devotees may not get involved in that, or they're not going to get involved in that, Srila Prabhupada knew about all of these different things from a traditional point of view, cultural point of view, philosophical point of view. And devotees, even if they don't get involved, such as brahmacharis and sannyasis, they can know. Now, of course, brahmacharis and sannyasis aren't supposed to be like marriage counselors. That's not good. And some devotees, like Niranjana Swami, he very expertly has arranged a whole system of devotees grihastas, who will take care of the other grihastas. In other words, when the grihastas, the householders, have some difficulty, some problems, they don't go to Niranjana Swami, they go to the senior householders, disciples. But still, it's in Srila Prabhupada's books, and we may have to speak about it in general. General principles. But again, we're not, the sannyasis and brahmacharis aren't supposed to be marriage counselors. So here, continuing, in other words, a suitable wife helps her husband perform penances and austerities in household life if both of them are on the same elevated platform of spiritual understanding. Without spiritual understanding, husband and wife cannot be equally situated. Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, is interested in good progeny. Therefore, unless he is pleased, one cannot get a suitable wife. Lord Brahma is worshipped in marriage ceremonies. In India, even today, wedding invitations are still issued with a picture of Lord Brahma on the face of the card. Which I never heard of that before. But so they're supposed to help each other, husband and wife, to elevate each other. But Prabhupada says they should be on the same elevated platform of spiritual understanding. Without spiritual understanding, husband and wife cannot be equally situated. So it's a problem sometimes because out of lust, people marry. And that's the worst thing somebody could do. A man sees a beautiful woman, oh, she's so beautiful. And a woman sees a handsome, oh, he's so handsome. And maybe there's some basic kind of clicking in terms of talking, and means connection through talking and this and that. They like each other's personality. Of course, until you live with someone, you don't really know who they are, but they like each other's personality. But then out of lust, practically speaking, largely, they marry, and it's a problem. Because lust is not, whatever say, everlasting. Never satisfying, burns like fire. And it's not everlasting. In other words, the excitement of lust or it's a temporary thing. In other words, it wears off. So they're feeling lust for each other, but for how long? They start feeling lust for somebody else. So the idea is that they should be, and you see sometimes, I won't give any names, but I've seen a number of devotees who have married thinking that the spouse would be a good match in terms of Krishna consciousness and be interested in Krishna consciousness and so on. But it just turns out they just completely flip. Or sometimes they just marry someone who's a non-devotee and they think, oh, I'll make them a devotee or something like that. But I've seen cases where 20, 25 years pass and they were just having to stay with that person due to the children and so on. But it's been very difficult for their Krishna consciousness. And even sometimes you marry sometimes somebody will marry somebody and they're a devotee, but I know 2 devotees, where actually I know 3. They all happen to be men and whatever. I'm sure there's a bunch of cases of men not wanting to be devotees as well. But the 3 wives of these 3 different devotees, somehow or other, just over time, they said, yeah, I'm not really interested so much in Krishna consciousness. In essence, that's what they were saying. And more graphically, Bhakti Sundar Swami, who will be coming here, Goswami will be coming here next Thursday, or this Thursday coming up. His wife, she said to him over time, she was a devotee. Then over time, she said to him, so I want you to make a choice, either me or Krishna. and then he said Krishna, and then she left. And then Maharaj, he stayed as a vanaprastha for many years, and then he accepted sannyas. So anyway, strange things like that happen too. So but whatever the case is, it shouldn't be out of lust. It should be with a suitable person, according to astrology, this and that. And of course, it's not that for those devotees, because most of the devotees here are brahmacharis, for those who our brahmacharis, it's not necessary. You know, you don't have to. It's not that over at a certain time, you know, you spent time in the ashram and they're like, all right, well, not necessarily. They're going to tell you, all right, well, you kind of spent enough time here now. We're going to push you out of the nest into while you're falling out of the nest, you're going to fall into a tuxedo and then, you know, go to a marriage ceremony. So devotees can stay, so that's there too. All right, so those are just some thoughts on these interesting verses and purports. So does anybody have any comments or questions from the in-person or online audience? Yes, Tyler?
Thank you for that nice discussion. So I'm wondering if, okay, they describe these horns. Are those an ancient form of like traveling? Is that a pack by which, or is that a euphemism? But it seems like you can carry things in horns, so I'm wondering if they're like saddlebags.
I mean, if you have horns there, I'm thinking of people. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they have horn and they tie them or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I just didn't know if that's an ancient way of actually carrying jewels.
Srivada Prabhu is saying Agnidhra is bewildered. So
okay.
he, as stated here in the next purport, actually for tomorrow, which Devarata Prabhu will give, it's text 16.
Yeah.
In the purport, it says, Srila Madhvacharya, because Agnidhra, he continues with his glorifications of Purvacitti and his bewilderment. So, in the last of the purport, it says, Srila Madhvacharya remarks in this connection that when one engages in joking and talking like a crazy person, one may say anything and everything, but his words will be meaningless. In other words, people say all types of things when they're bewildered. So it's kind of like that.
Okay. And the other question then is, it's talking about how we said he will eventually marry her.
Yes.
He's wanting to marry her. He's feeling attraction for her.
Yes.
Did she come to marry him? Did she like him?
Yes.
Did she want this to happen?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. Because
Yeah.
he does. So it's good to see that it's mutual. So she came intending
Yeah,
for this
Lord
to be very
Brahma
attractive to him.
Yeah, Lord Brahma sent her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's doing a great job at it. It's
Yeah.
really working.
Yeah. So be careful. We have to be careful what we ask for, what we pray for. Aside from what we ask and pray for, because sometimes you think what we actively ask for or what we actively pray for, right? Sometimes we think, oh, okay, we have to be careful what we actively ask for, what we actively pray for. But actually, we have to be careful what we desire. Because Krishna, as it says in the Sri Upanishad, Krishna is the self-sufficient philosopher, fulfilling everybody's desires since time immemorial. So you could say a desire, and it is in somewhat like a unmanifested form of a prayer. Because prayer means what you want, what you need, what you think you have to have, right? But a desire is just like the beginning of a prayer, you could say. So we have to be careful what we desire, because we may not be praying for it actively, but if we're desiring it, Krishna says, all right, you're desiring it, well, here you go. So, anyways, yes, Prabhu.
Bhagavatam, as we know, is meant to be read every day,
Yeah.
and we have a daily class. And some parts of the Bhagavatam can be actually memorized and read over and over and over, and it just increases your Krishna consciousness. This isn't one of them. I mean, I hope I'm not out of line. Maybe I'll get a criticism from above. But this particular passage, we're reading it now, and it has a certain conclusion. There's a lesson there. But I don't think it's really recommended that you read it every day. Okay, Tyler? Oh.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Prakash.
so the beings from like higher planets, like denizens,
Yes.
I mean, they don't like have.
Don't
like,
think about them too much either.
Do they
yes.
not have like they don't incur any sin? Like, for example, she leaves him eventually. And
Yeah, it's interesting.
it's
point.
like they don't like incur any, or they operate by a different set of rules.
Well, I mean, they definitely operate by a different set of rules in the sense that in the sense that, they don't get old, right? And when their karma runs out, eventually they fall back down, right? What is it? Chine, Punye, what is it? Martyalokam Vishanti. They fall down back into Martyaloka, this world, place of death. But, so they do operate by some different rules. Now, of course, in the case of like Urvashi, right? Is it Urvashi? She came and she was with Pururava? Yeah. So with Urvashi, she was as far as I remember, I think, maybe not, but you could say if she's not, but I thought she was more like a, what do you call those girls? Society girl. Yeah, which, for a society girl to leave a man, she's a society girl. That's what they do. They leave men. But in the case of Purvacitti, it doesn't really mention her being a society girl. But of course, she's from the higher planets. So, and then when she leaves, when does she leave? Does she leave when, all the kids are grown up? Purvacitti and Agnidra's children are grown up. Is that when she leaves? She does. And what happens to Agnidhra? Does he take sannyas? Oh, he dies eventually, and thinking of her, and then he goes to Pitriloka. Yeah. Yeah, all the Shraddhas. So, so she leaves him, and then he continues his life thinking about her, and then he dies, and he goes to Pitriloka to join her. So, yeah, I mean, there's not, as far as I've read in the Bhagavatam and these different chapters, there's not much description on the rules and regulations of women coming from the higher planets to men. I could just think of Urvashi, her being a society girl, that's what they do, but with Purvacitti, I'm not sure. So
even Mother Ganges, she would give birth to Bhishma Dev,
yes.
But before all the children, they all will be killed basically by whoever she gave birth to. So she doesn't incur, or is it like part of a pastime, or how do we even understand that?
So you're saying Ganga would give birth to
many children,
children?
But then finally that king wouldn't want her to kill Bhishma Dev, so he remains. Bhishma is like the last child.
Yeah.
So Ganga will say, if you say anything to what I do, I will leave you. So.
Oh, she says that to her husband?
Yeah.
Oh, if you say anything, I'll leave you.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
So finally, so he will stop the killing of Bhishma Dev.
Now, one thing, where is this? This is in the Mahabharata. Now, sometimes there's different translations of the Mahabharata, and did she actually say that? And do acharyas accept that she said that? And maybe sometimes, even if she would say that, maybe there's different meanings to it. Like Mahatma Gandhi, for example, and his wife, which I don't even know what she looks like. I never saw a picture of her. He's very famous, but what about his wife? Have you ever seen a picture of her? You have? Okay. Anyways, I'm not from India, so maybe that's why. But because Mahatma Gandhi's all over India, right? All over the rupee notes. So they would fight sometimes, and he would say, "Get out," and she would leave, and he would say, "Don't come back," right? And then she would spend some time outside, and then eventually she would knock, and, "Oh, can I come back?" And he would say, "Okay, you come back in." So, in other words, they would fight, but it wasn't really like a serious thing. She always was accepted back, and so similar with this Ganga. I mean, with Ganga saying, "Oh, I'll leave you." Well, now, would she really leave? Right?
Pastime connected with it, like in the past life, Bhishma Dev will steal some cow or something, and he'll get cursed, and he'll alone have to remain. All the friends, they will die and go back early. So
I see.
He has to remain like a long life and suffer through it or something. But yeah, still it's
But yeah, there seems like they're operating by different standards. But they say that we shouldn't imitate. Like if someone thinks, okay, well, they did it, so we'll do it too. But we shouldn't imitate the great souls because, or persons from the heavenly planets or this and that, because they may be able to do certain things we can't. Like Lord Shiva drinks a whole ocean of poison, right? You can't imitate, they say, like Prabhupada says, oh, you imitate Shiva by smoking ganja, but what about drinking an ocean of poison, right? So, yeah. All right, does anybody have any?
Thank you, Balaram Prabhu. My question is, when we have fallen, do we fall straight into the material world as in like this earth, or do we become like demigods first?
Prabhupada said in one place that everybody starts off as a Lord Brahma. Where's Lord Brahma? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, Lord Brahma is a pure devotee. Our Brahma is a pure devotee. He's the head of our sampradaya. So, I mean, Lord Brahma is a post. So Srila Prabhupada says when everybody falls from the spiritual, they take the post of Lord Brahma. But there's many Lord Brahmas, right? Well, we obviously had, the capacity. Like we have the capacity right now as a human, right? But if we descend into the lower species, then we don't have the capacity, right, to... That's what Prabhupada mentions. Yeah.
It's everywhere. You got millions of trillions of bugs and everything, and every one of them wants that a universe. You start to figure out, whoa, how does that compute, And I didn't even try to multiply it out, how it might compute, but it's inconceivable. One of those
Yeah. All right. Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.